Family, we're back. We are so incredibly back. The WNBA is here. It is in full swing. No more training camp cuts, no more preseason, no more debating on guaranteed contracts. None of that. Well, we'll probably get back to that, but none of that for now because the WNBA season is officially here. Paige Bueckers made her WNBA debut on this court that I'm standing on. And oh yeah, Napheesa Collier and the Minnesota Lynx, still good at basketball. Still good at basketball. I got thoughts. I'm going to break it down for you here on the No Cap Space Postgame Show. Well, let's start off with Paige Bueckers. I didn't light the world on fire by any means in this game. I'm sure social media is having a ball. It might just be Shawnee, honestly. But regardless, I thought that she played a Paige Bueckers game. It was about what I expected, honestly, in the sense of not super high risk, got to her spots, defended, did her it was a calm, decent, solid performance in her debut. Nothing to complain about, certainly things to work on. Like, she was getting to her spots, some of the shots weren't falling. I think these shot attempts, the field goal, the efficiency, probably not as forgiving as it would be just based on watching the game. Got a couple grenades thrown at the end of the shot clock, but ultimately, like, you saw why Paige Bueckers is going to be very good in the WNBA. You saw the playmaking, you saw the defense, you saw just the all-aroundness of her game. Simply, her game is not about taking risk, right? And I think that we saw that kind of shine through today. Not playing timid by any means, but again, just calm, calculated. I mean, obviously, the comparison that's going to happen is going to be the debut to Caitlin Clark and whatnot. And Caitlin Clark is a high-risk player that is, at times, is going to make mistakes because of that risk. And at times, is going to make some of the most incredible plays that you've ever seen, right? And I didn't feel that risk from Paige Bueckers because that is not the type of player that she is, and that is A-okay. From the rest of the wings, right? I think, to me, the standout player that I've taken the most away from this game wasn't a starter. It was Maddie Seagris, who was coming off the bench. Thank you. That's what I'm talking about. We got box scores now. I was over here just kind of freestyling. Look, Maddie Seagris coming off the bench. I'll tell you right now, 5 of 10. What is it? 11 points, right? Look, not a starter in this game. Decided to go small, notably, for the Dallas Wings, right? You start Napheesa Smith, you start Hines Allen, and I wasn't feeling it. Look, in comparison. So I think that going small was the right move. I think that is the best bet for the Wings. I think their best stretch of basketball in this game came in the second quarter where it was Maddie Seagris in there instead of Napheesa Smith. And obviously, look, every take in game one can be seen eventually as an overreaction. The opinion can be subject to change. But as of right now, to me, if I'm going to the next game, if I'm Chris Koklanis, I'm starting Maddie Seagris. I think that she was phenomenal in this game, doing what you're asking Maddie Seagris to do. Obviously, she didn't set the world on fire. We'll talk about the player that did, Napheesa Collier. But to me, that's more of what you need because, frankly, you don't have the defense at the forward position, but you can add the spacing, right? And I didn't feel like there was moments where, like, she was being hunted on defense or anything of that nature, right? So it didn't feel like a heavy negative on that. I thought she was better on the offensive end. And, again, I feel like the best stretch came where you had your four starters. You had Arike, Paige, Hines Allen, Dejanay, and then you had Seagris in there in that four spot. To me, that was when the Wings were playing their best basketball in this game tonight. I'll be interested in seeing what does that look like going forward. Obviously, this is a very malleable team over the course of the season. This is not a team that is set in stone by any means. Obviously, Tierra McCowan, I think, was the biggest probably down minutes-wise in sense of, obviously got into foul trouble, got 3 really quick fouls. It was like 3 fouls in 2 minutes for Tierra McCowan in this game. And we didn't see that size, which is something that normally you would think to deploy against the Minnesota Lynx, right? And we didn't see that size in this game. But frankly, I don't think that was, I certainly think the lack of minutes in totality was because of the fouls. I think the strategy was exactly what it was meant to be. Playing fast, being active on defense. I thought their defense in the second quarter for the Wings was really, really inspiring and really motivating for the future of what it can be. Because the way they were moving and everything for a game one, for a new team, I was seeing the vision with it. They were on this side of the court hustling, okay? But I think my last thought on the Wings, and obviously on a minutes restricted night, kind of working our way back, the offense was odd at times. And it wasn't incredibly seamless, between Paige and Enrique, and that's okay. Like, again, every critique I'm making right now is game one. Like, this is just like kind of our starting point and where we'll see this Wings team potentially go the rest of the way. To me, it wasn't incredibly seamless. I thought it was an interesting shot attempt diet. We're so used to, especially last season, just purely because there really wasn't much of any other choice. But Enrique was taking the shots. We know Enrique is a high volume shot shooter. Like, that is what Enrique is. We didn't see that tonight. We see her with 12, going forward 12. We see Dejanay, 5 of 11, who I thought Dejanay was really good tonight, by the way. Paige, 3 of 10. Seagris, 5 of 10. Hines Allen, 5 of 9. It was a much more well-rounded shot diet just for the Wings as a whole, as a team. And I'll be interested in seeing how that continues over the course of this season. Is that the norm? Is that the strategy? We've seen a little bit of that in preseason, but you never know what you can kind of take away from preseason and what that looks like. But I think, to me, Ty Harris might be the key to unlocking this offense. In the minutes where you don't have both Paige and Enrique on the court together, allowing Paige to get off ball. With Chris Koklanis, you can watch the whole press conference here on the No Cap Space YouTube page. Chris Koklanis mentioned this in his press conference about Ty Harris allowing Paige to go off the ball. And I think that is super interesting. And also, Ty Harris is still a very good defender. Ty Harris is a starting point guard in the WNBA on majority of teams. She just happens to be with Paige Bueckers and Enrique Gumbawale, right? And I'll be interested in seeing, they don't have a ton of size, right? Because in a perfect world, I wouldn't even mind starting Ty Harris. But ultimately, the way that this roster is made up, I don't think that there's room for that. But the staggered minutes where you can stagger Paige and Enrique and fill those with Ty Harris feel incredibly important with her floor spacing, with her defense on the other side. You're not losing a ton. If you have her in there instead of maybe Dejanay, for example, in the lineup, you're not like tanking on the defensive end, even though Dejanay is your best defender on this team. I'm very intrigued by what Ty Harris can bring in the long run of this season as we see those rotations develop. But damn, they're shutting the lights off on me. That's wicked. Look, we got to talk about her. Napheesa Collier is still good at basketball. I've seen Napheesa play in person. I don't know if I've seen Napheesa play since the level up that we've seen, right? And witnessing that in person, I don't know if she broke a sweat tonight. I will say, though, Cheryl Reeve, I got an issue because you didn't leave her in to get 40. And that was our DoorDash code for tomorrow. I'm going to be here in Dallas. I'm at a hotel. I could have used that, but it's fine. But it's not okay, actually. It's not fine. I'm lying. It's not okay. Leave her in for 40. But goodness, it was unstoppable. That third quarter, Courtney Williams as well, right? Like was really, really good in that third quarter. But watching Fee operate and frankly, just absolutely nothing that you can do. If you're Dallas, you don't have the defensive capabilities in your 4 and 5 spot, which is, to me, I think to everyone, I don't think I'm any, mega brain basketball mind to be like, yeah, their weak spot is the 4 and the 5, right? And that shined in that third quarter. And watching Napheesa just pick apart that defense, and there was absolutely nothing that they could do about it from Minnesota. Just not a thing. And then you got Courtney Williams on top of that, just MVP. From game one, we're starting it. Like, it is the run is on, the campaign is on. We'll see how A'ja Wilson responds tomorrow. But look, Fee looks good. Fee looks good. I'll tell you another player that looked good and is absolutely massive. And I brought this up in my team preview for Minnesota. Who was going to be the level up, right? And obviously, no Kayla McBride tonight. Diamond Miller, I thought, was fantastic in this game tonight. What'd she end up with? It was what? 13 points, right? Yeah, 13 points on 4-7. Like, got to the line 7 times, 3 assists, like 2 steals. Just, again, you're not asking the world of Diamond Miller, but if she can go average double-digit points off the bench, you can go and conquer the world. If your starters are playing, if Fee is doing that, if Courtney Williams is doing that, if Kayla McBride comes in and continues to do what she was doing last season, if you add Diamond Miller contributing to that level in the way that she did tonight and impacting the way that she did, look, man, you were this close away from the title already. The margins matter. And Diamond Miller can be a margin difference in this. It can be enough just to raise that ceiling just a little bit more. That's enough. And we had heard during training camp, Cheryl Reeve talking about Diamond Miller and not giving up on Diamond Miller. Obviously, it has not been the beginning to her career that I think she expected, that she wanted by any means. A lot of it has to do with injury. But she looked fantastic tonight, and I loved to see that. And again, if that's what she can bring on a consistent basis, I'd be feeling pretty good if I'm a Minnesota. I'd already be feeling good if I'm a Minnesota fan, but I'd be feeling fantastic if I was a Minnesota fan and seeing Diamond Miller do that. But that's going to wrap it up from me here in Dallas tonight. I'm here. I'm here till Monday. So I will be back here, press conferences, post-game here on Monday, where the Dallas Wings take on the Seattle Storm. Of course, we have you covered throughout the weekend. A couple big games tomorrow. You might have heard about them. Liberty Aces, Sky Fever. We'll have takes. We'll have thoughts. We'll be here. So make sure you're on the lookout. Make sure you're subscribed here on the YouTube channel. Like, subscribe, share. It all helps in getting us to travel to places like this, to go and cover the game we love, to cover the game that you love. It all helps. Of course, NoCapSpaceWBB.com. Whether you're a free subscriber. We were chatting in the Paige subscriber chat all night tonight. Our ball networks. We had a lovely time. We were discussing. We were getting takes off. We were agendaing. We were having a ball. So make sure you'll check out NoCapSpaceWBB.com as well. So you get all your content, your video here on YouTube, your print and podcast on NoCapSpaceWBB.com. Don't miss out on anything that we're putting out. Make sure you're tapped in, and I'll see you next time.